Well, if you ever wonder why kids become so liberal after they attend college, well, Sean, take a look at this story. An English professor at Iowa State University issued a syllabus threatening to dismiss students who submit work that opposes her liberal viewpoints. The teacher, who is Chloe Clark, issued a giant warning, literally, where she lists not only sexist or racist writings, but a slew of obscure phobias that she says are forbidden to even be discussed in her classroom. The syllabus goes on to say, quote, "The same goes for any papers or projects. You cannot choose any topic that takes at its base that one side doesn't deserve the same basic rights as you do, i.e., no arguments against gay marriage, abortion, Black Lives Matter, etc. I take this seriously," end quote. Well, how seriously? She goes on to say that if you do write about these topics, they are grounds for dismissal from her classroom. By the way, this English course is a requirement for graduation. Luckily, the school has since corrected the syllabus, but it has to make you wonder, how many times does this actually happen where it isn't so blatantly obvious and stated in the syllabus? Joining us to talk about the attacks on free speech is founder and editor-in-chief of TrishIntel.com. Trish, good to see ya.
Good to see you, Lindsay. Good to see you, Sean.
All right, and congrats on this new podcast. Excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you. We are super excited. It's a lot of fun, and I appreciate so many people who've tuned in and reached out, and I love it.
Awesome. Well, back to this story. This is insane. You know, we always talk about liberal professors at universities. This is a state university, by the way, so taxpayer dollars here. But even though the university did the right thing by correcting the syllabus, taking it out, and reprimanding the teacher in some ways, teaching her about First Amendment rights, you know, these students who are in this class, they still know if I write a paper on this or if I speak about it, I might not get such a great grade because I know how this teacher clearly feels about it. I mean, this is extremely concerning.
You know, it is concerning because I think that we look at academic institutions, or at least historically, we used to look at academic institutions as places where you could have intellectual freedom and you could debate ideas. And it was sort of like, you know, you could throw everything in there and see how it would shake out. I firmly believe that you need all these different viewpoints to really be able to best articulate your own, right? How can you really defend a viewpoint if you don't know what everybody else out there is thinking? And so I would think most colleges, most universities, most academic institutions, if they really believed in intellectual freedom, then they would actually stand for it, which means you could have a point of view, you could defend it, and you would not be penalized for it. Unfortunately, that is not the case. I mean, they have taken a moral high ground, if you would, and it's become, Lindsay, a religion.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. You know, Sean, I think the other interesting thing is, and to Trish's point, usually a school is where you can have open debate and your ideas are challenged, but when you're not even able to speak your own ideas, we're creating a real problem for the next generation.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this. It's not, though. They don't want this to happen. It's indoctrination. They don't want them to be exposed to other viewpoints because they know if they are, they might not be able to force this liberal viewpoint down people's throats. The reality is, going back to the teacher, it's the subtle nature of this indoctrination, which is those ideas are bad, our ideas are good, and don't you dare do it. Every kid knows. The school might have told them, nope, you can't punish the kids for doing that, but they all got the message. And not only in that classroom, but they're probably a lot more concerned about doing it or bringing it up or having that discussion that Trish was talking about in any other classroom as well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, changing subjects just a little bit, the Democratic Party and the Biden campaign is trying to walk back any association with controversial former Women's March leader Linda Sarsour. She was at a council meeting on Tuesday at the DNC, and here's what she said.
The Democratic Party is not perfect, but it is absolutely our party in this moment.
Okay, here is what the Biden campaign said in a statement, trying to walk back that they are in no association with her. They say this: Joe Biden has been a strong supporter of Israel and vehement opponent of anti-Semitic his entire life. And he is obviously condemns her views and opposes BDS, as does the Democratic platform. That was Andrew Bates. Well, the interesting thing here, Trish, is I just do not see in any world where this gets bypassed and no one pays attention to it. The DNC said that caucuses, which she was a part of on Tuesday, they choose their own speakers, they choose their own programming. But to think that no one flagged this and now they're trying to act like they have no association with person who has made many anti-Semitic statements in the past, is very clear and associated with terrorism. And now that the right is causing a concern, they're saying, oh, we want to have nothing to do with her, yet she was a part of your convention.
Sure. I mean, it's remarkable to me how tolerant they are of some people that really don't wish us, meaning America, that well, or Israel for that matter. Increasingly, I feel like there's a lot of anti-Semitism that exists among members of the Democrat Party, and this has really crept up in a way that has become kind of like a new normal, right? And that's troubling because I think that we need to remember how powerful our alliance has been with Israel, how incredible those people are, and what they're up against. And so, rather than say, okay, we're gonna throw all that out because we want to side with this radical sort of fringe movement in the party, look, I think it's highly problematic in general for the Democrat Party going forward. But this is where they are, right? I mean, you think about the Squad, for example. You think about their economic policies, which I watch so carefully. These are not people that really are in line with what historically Democrats have been. Look, I grew up as part of a big Irish Catholic family, right? And you were like a Democrat there, my father's family anyway, like you were Irish, like you were Catholic. It was just part of the drill. And I think that it was a very working class type of party back then. It's changed dramatically. It's no longer really speaking out for that middle class America. And that's just another example of it, Lindsay.
Yeah, definitely. Sean, we're out of time, but real quick, do you think there's any way, yes or no, that this went unnoticed by the DNC?
Oh, of course they know, but the bigger issue is the media.
Yeah. All right. They didn't even cover it, barely. All right, Trish, it's always good to see you. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks so much, guys.
All right, coming up, our company breaks down the DNC winners and losers. Speaking of winners, will Joe Concha successfully defend his title? Can he beat me this week? The company quiz is minutes away.